If you're starting 2026 still single in your 30s, this can be the year that everything finally changes for you. Or it can be the year that you fall even further behind. And I know that sounds harsh, but here's the brutal reality. Your friends are getting married, your social circle is shrinking, and every year that you wait, the pool of quality women gets smaller and smaller. The best ones are getting locked down while you're still trying to figure out what went wrong. And look, I get it. You probably thought by now you'd have this whole area of your life handled. You thought the career would come first, you thought the money would come, and then the woman would just spawn in out of thin air. That's not how it works. And now you're in your 30s, you're making good money, got your life together on paper, but you're still going home alone every night wondering why the hell this thing is not working. So in this video, I'm going to break down exactly how I've helped guys just like you go from 0 dates to consistent options with quality women in under 90 days. So if you want to know how to get insane results like all my other clients, click the first link in the description to work with me directly. Now let's get into it. All right, so the first thing that you need to understand is this. You don't have a system. You're just winging it, and that's the real problem. Like, think about it. In your career, you have a system. You have processes, frameworks, things you do every single day that compound over time to produce results. You don't just wake up and hope your business runs itself. You have a plan and you execute on that plan. You track your metrics, you optimize. But when it comes to dating, you're just hoping shit works out. You're swiping on the apps when you feel like it. You're approaching a girl maybe once every few months whenever you get drunk enough to do it. You're texting a few girls here and there with no strategy, no framework, just kind of shooting from the hip, hoping something sticks. And here's the thing, that might have worked actually in your 20s when you had social proof, when you were in college, when you were constantly surrounded by girls. But in your 30s, you actually need a system. You need a dating funnel that constantly puts quality women right in front of you. And you need frameworks to convert those interactions into dates, into relationships, into the life that you actually want. Because here's what happens when you don't have a system. You get inconsistent results. You go on the date, it goes well, and then you don't go on another date for 3 months. You meet a girl you like, you text her, she ghosts you, and you just have no idea why. You're guessing, you're just hoping, and hope is not really a strategy. So what does a system actually look like? It's simple, you need 3 things. Number 1, a consistent way to actually meet high quality women. That's gonna be your top of funnel. And that can be cold approach, it can be dating apps, it can be social circle, whatever you want. You just need a reliable way of getting women into your life every week. Number 2, you need frameworks for each stage of the interaction. How do you open? How do you hook the conversation? How do you get her number? How do you text? How do you set up a date? Where do you do the date? How do you lead? How do you pull? How do you get to sex? You need to know all of these things and exactly what to do at each step so that you're not just winging it. Number 3, you need to be consistent about it. You need to be doing this every single day, not randomly, not sporadically, not whenever you feel like it, every single day. Because that's how you build true momentum, and that's how you actually build abundance in your dating life. That's how you build the dating life that you want. And if you don't have these 3 things pretty much locked down, you're going to spend 2026 the same way that you spent 2025. Frustrated, confused, and alone. All right, so point number 2, you're relying on dating apps, and it's killing your abundance. Look, I'm not saying dating apps are 100% useless. I actually think they can be a great supplement to your dating funnel once you have everything else dialed in. But here's the problem. Most guys use dating apps as a crutch. They use them to avoid doing the real work, which is learning how to walk up to a woman in real life and have a normal conversation. And here's what happens. You're getting a few matches a week. Maybe they're 6s, maybe they're 7s. You're like, okay, cool. You know, it's not bad. Got the dating app sort of working. But in reality, what it's doing is it's masking the fact that you don't have true abundance because you can't actually walk up to a girl and talk to her. You have to rely on an app. You're putting a lot of time into it, you're putting a lot of thought into it, and you're checking it throughout the day. You're lying in bed, swiping, scrolling away. And the worst part is that the girls you're matching with are actually matching with 50 other guys. You're competing with pretty much every other dude in your city who's got a phone. So your value's compressed down to pretty much 6 pics and a bio. She has no idea if you're charismatic. She has no idea if you're confident. She has no idea if you can actually lead. All she knows is what you look like in a photo. And unless you're truly in the top like 5-10% of guys, maybe looks wise, you're getting filtered out before you even get a chance on an app. Compare that to doing a cold approach. When you walk up to a girl in real life, you immediately stand out. Why? Because 99% of guys are simply too scared to do it. They won't do it. You instantly demonstrate confidence just by approaching. She gets to feel your energy, your vibe, your presence, and you're not competing with 50 other guys in her DMs. you're the only guy who had the balls to walk up and talk to her that entire day. And here's the thing, when you build your dating life around real life interactions, dating apps become a supplement. They become easy because now you're not needy. Now you're not desperate. You're already talking to girls in real life. You already have options, and you know that you can create more options pretty much at the snap of a finger. So whenever you do match with the girl on Hinge, you're not putting her on a pedestal. You're not over investing. You're just like, okay, cool, another option. And that energy, that's what actually attracts women. So here's what I recommend. If you're getting subpar matches on dating apps, delete them. Delete them until you can do cold approach. And once you start doing cold approaches, then re-download the apps and use them in conjunction with cold approach. Because the initial abundance that you'll get from cold approach is going to help you a lot with the dating apps. When you walk into conversation, you'll be less needy. You'll be like, all right, I'm already talking to a few girls. I'm all good. I don't need you. And you'll be way cooler that way. But if you're relying on the dating apps as your only source of meeting women, you are fucked. You're competing in the hardest possible environment with the least amount of leverage. And in 2026, that's a losing strategy. Now, before I get into the next point, I want to say this. If you're watching this video and you're realizing, shit, I don't have a system, I am winging it, I'm relying on dating apps, and I don't know how to do cold approach, I don't know how to text, if that's you, you have two options. Option number one, you can spend the next 5 years figuring this out on your own. You can go through trial and error, you can get ghosted, you can fumble approaches, you can wonder why women are rejecting you, and maybe eventually you'll figure it out. Or option two, you can compress that learning curve into 90 days with a proven system. I've helped dozens of guys just like you go from 0 dates to 1 to 3 dates per week with women that they're actually excited about, all in under 90 days. Guys who are making the same mistakes you're making right now. The difference is that they stopped trying to wing it and they got serious about learning from someone who's already done it. So if you're trying to make 2026 the year that you actually solve this, click the first link in the description and book a call to work with me directly. Click the link and let's talk, because you're probably making mistake number 3, which keeps tons of guys from achieving their dream dating lives. Not surrounding themselves with guys who are good with women. And this is a big one that most guys completely overlook. Here's the reality. You are the average of the 5 people you spend the most time with. And if the guys that you're hanging out with are also single, also struggling, also have no idea how to talk to women, guess what? You're also going to have no idea how to talk to women. Because here's what happens. You go out with your boys, you see a hot girl, you're like, should I go talk to her? And what do your friends say? Nah, she's probably got a boyfriend. Or nah, cold approach is weird. Or nah, bro, that's weird, don't do that. They're literally cockblocking you because they're scared and they also have limiting beliefs. Their fear is going to become your reality. So compare that to surrounding yourself with guys who are actually good with women, guys who approach, guys who get laid, guys who go on dates every week. When you're around those types of guys, approaching is going to become normal. Going on dates becomes normal. Having different options, seeing different women, all that stuff starts to become normal. And your behavior is going to shift to match that environment. I see this all the time with my clients. They come into my program and they start surrounding themselves with other guys who are taking action, who are getting results, and all of a sudden their entire mindset shifts. They're like, shit, this is actually possible. I can get laid. I'm normal. I can actually do this. It's not just about accountability, although that's a huge part of it. It's about seeing what's possible. It's about normalizing the behavior that you need to adopt to get the results that you want. Because if you're the only guy in your friend group who's trying to improve with women, you want to just be fighting an uphill battle. Your environment is working against you. So here's what you need to do. You need to find a community of guys who are where you want to be. Whether that's joining a program like mine, whether that's finding a wingman in your city, or whether that's joining a group of guys who are serious about this, you need to change your environment. Because here's the thing, you can have all the knowledge in the world, you could have watched every YouTube video, you can read every book, but if you're not in an environment that supports the behavior you're trying to adopt, you're simply going to fail. You're going to revert back to your old patterns. You're going to stay comfortable, and comfort is the enemy of growth. So if you're serious about making 2026 your year, you need to get around guys who are already living the life that you want, period. All right, point number 4, you're probably not building consistency. You're relying on something called motivation, and that's why you're stuck. Here's what I see all the time. A guy watches a video like this, he gets all fired up, he's like, all right, I'm gonna go out and I'm gonna approach 3 girls every single day. I'm going to fix this. I'm going to change my life. And he does it for maybe a day, maybe a week if he's really motivated. And then life is just going to get in the way. He's going to get busy with work. He's going to have a bad approach. He's going to get rejected, and he's going to stop. And then 2 months later, he's back to square one, watching more videos, getting more motivated, and the cycle just repeats. Sound familiar? Here's a problem. Motivation is temporary. Motivation fades. You can't rely on it to build the life that you want. You need consistency. You need systems. You need habits that you do regardless of how you feel. For example, I do 3 approaches a day. Every single day, that's it. Bottom line. If you do that, you're going to get results. It doesn't matter if you're motivated. It doesn't matter if you feel like it. It doesn't matter if you had a bad day. 3 approaches every day, non-negotiable. And here's what happens when you build that consistency. At first, it's difficult. The first few months are actually pretty brutal. You're scared, you're nervous, getting rejected, but slowly over time, after doing 3 approaches every single day, you start to lose the fear of anxiety and the fear of approaching, the fear of getting rejected. You start to get faster, you start to get better, and what used to take you 2-3 hours of wandering around a mall or a park, now it just takes you 15 minutes, or you just do it throughout your day-to-day. And what used to feel impossible now just feels normal. That's when the results really start to compound, because now you're not just approaching when you feel like it, you're approaching every single day. You're building a pipeline, you're building momentum, and you're building abundance. And the same thing applies to every other part of your dating life. Texting, dates, leading, pulling. You need frameworks, and you need to execute on those frameworks consistently. Because here's the truth. Guys who get results aren't the guys who are motivated. They're the guys who are the most consistent. They're the guys who show up every single day, even when they don't feel like it. Even when they're tired, even when they're hungry, even when they're scared. That's what separates the guys who actually get good from the guys who stay stuck. So if you want to make 2026 your year, you need to stop relying on motivation and start building consistency. You need to commit to doing the work every single day, no matter what, because that's the only way that you're going to get the results that you truly want. All right, so point number 5, and this is a big one. You're selling potential, not proof. Here's what I mean by that. When you were in your 20s, women were attracted to your potential, your ambition, your dreams, your 5-year plan, your I'm going to build an empire speech. That shit was attractive because potential felt infinite. Now you're in your 30s, and when you tell a woman about your startup idea or your plan to get in shape and your plan to travel the world, she's not thinking, oh, how exciting. She's thinking, why haven't you already done this? You've had plenty of time. You've had all of your 20s and some of your 30s to do this. But here's the reality. Women in their 20s date men in their 30s for one reason, proof. They want to see that you've actually built something. They want to see that you're actually in shape. They want to see that you actually have your shit together. They don't want to hear about who you're going to become. They want to see who you are right now. Your 30s are a showcase, not a sales pitch. You're not auditioning for the role anymore. You either have the credentials or you don't. And this applies to your dating life too. You can't just talk about how you're going to become confident. You can't just talk about how you're going to approach more. You can't just talk about how you're going to get better with women. You actually have to be better with women. You actually have to be approaching more. You actually have to build the proof. And here's what proof looks like in dating. It's being able to walk up to a woman and have a conversation without being nervous. It's about being able to lead a date. It's about being able to escalate physically and naturally. It's about being able to read social signals and calibrate to the situation. It's having a system that consistently gets you results. If you don't have these skills locked in by now, it's a massive red flag to women, because they're looking at you like, you're 32 and you still don't know how to talk to girls. You're 35 and you still can't lead. You're 35 and you're still too scared to take me home. What have you been doing this whole fucking time? And I know it sounds harsh, but it's actually the truth. Women at this age have options. They're dating guys who have their shit together. They're dating guys who know what they're doing. And if you're still trying to figure it out, you're going to get passed up for a guy who already has. So here's what you need to do. You need to stop selling dreams and start building proof. You need to actually develop the skills. You need to actually put in the work. You need to actually become the man who women want to be with, not the man who talks about becoming the man. And the good news is it's actually not too late. You can build this. You can develop these skills, but you need to start now. You need to stop waiting. You need to stop procrastinating. You need to stop hoping it's going to magically get better, because it's not. It's only going to get harder the longer that you wait. All right, so let me wrap this up. If you are starting 2026 still single in your 30s, you have a choice to make. You can spend the year the same way you spent 2025, winging it, relying on dating apps, hoping things are going to magically get better, or you can actually take control and build the dating life that you truly want. And look, I'm not going to sugarcoat this. It's going to take work. It's going to take consistency. It's going to take stepping outside of your comfort zone and doing things that scare the shit out of you. But the alternative is staying exactly where you are. And in 5 years, you're going to be 35, 37, 40 years old, still single, still frustrated, still wondering why this isn't working. And here's the brutal truth. While you're still sitting here debating whether or not to take action, another guy your age is already 3 dates deep with your future girlfriend. He's already building the life that you want. He's already doing the work, and the gap between him and you is only going to get wider the longer that you wait. If you don't fix this in 2026, when are you going to fix it? So if you're ready to get the accountability, the frameworks, the coaching you need to make this year your breakthrough year, so click the link below, book the call, and let's make 2026 the year you actually solve this shit for good.